Hello, Zach.
Hello, Paul.
So today I'm here with Zach, and we're going to take a walk around his little zoo that he has in his garage. So Zach, you want to start out with talking about this little tortoise here?
This is Tiny. He is an African sulcata tortoise. He was actually a donation to us. We got him for, the guy was going to sell him for a lot more than we got him for, but the guy knew we were educators. So he basically knocked the price off, and he was actually a breeder male, and it took us about 2 years to get him people friendly. He now lets you pet him and everything else, and he comes out, eats out of your hand. So he's still a little shy, but by no means mean. And he actually, if you go into the backyard, he runs you down because you can't feed. His favorite food is cactus. And my mom has a prickly pear out at her house that we just constantly cut pieces off of. But he'll eat grass and anything green you want to feed him, because the tortoise, they don't drink water. They don't drink water at all. They get all the water they need from their food, so he's constantly chewing on anything green. His favorite snack is apples and strawberries, but you don't want to overfeed them because their stomachs don't like the acidic content. So he gets a little reward here and there, so he always thinks we have apples.
Yeah. So how old is this? This is a tortoise, right?
It's a tortoise. He's 13 years old. He'll probably go roughly 90 years.
So this thing is probably going to outlive you.
Oh, yeah, this is my grandkid's tortoise. I'm already going to will it to my grandkids. So no big deal. But he'll probably double that size. He's still infant stage almost for tortoises. So
wow,
he's horribly spoiled. We don't have a dog.
And how much does that thing weigh now?
About 85 pounds.
And so you say double, so that's about 160, 170 pounds whenever he's grown?
He'll be very, basically a 13-year-old could probably ride on him.
Yeah, that's big. That's big.
He's going to be very healthy, but we feed him well. And there's a special diet you can do tortoises called the Missouri diet, which is just very concentrated pellets. We mostly feed him that, but he'll chew on grass, and like I said, we keep him with broccoli and lettuce and anything. So he's horribly spoiled. There's dogs that are less spoiled than him.
And so what was his name, you said? Tiny?
Tiny.
Yeah, that's funny, yeah.
My daughter named him, so she loves to ride on his back.
That's funny. And so what do you have over here now?
Well, here we have a dwarf caiman from Brazil. So this is Cordelia. And she lives with her little turtles that we caught. These are just
now, is that her hissing?
That's her hissing. She's trying to let you know, she's letting you know we see you. I know you're there. I was like, I know, you know Daddy's voice. So now she's coming. She thinks we're going to feed her, but I already fed her. If you look at that belly, she's very, very happy with that chicken we threw in there earlier.
What size chicken do you throw in there?
We don't throw like chicken. We cut the pieces and just throw in there the legs and stuff. We don't let her, she can choke on it if she gets something too big. So we mostly cut it up for her, but she eats everything that used to be alive.
Right. And so you said earlier when we were talking about this, that you have a permit, so that makes it legal for you to have a caiman, dwarf caiman?
If you're going to have exotic reptiles, you need a permit to have it, and you need to check with your city ordinances and make sure. Like I'm friends with the police department, so a lot of them call me to help remove rat snakes and other animals they get caught that are reptiles. So I was like, hey guys, I'm back. So I've checked with the city ordinances. It's okay to have reptiles here, exotic reptiles, and. So, but yes, if you're going to have a crocodilian, a permit is really good to have, because if Texas Parks and Wildlife comes knocking on your door and you don't have it, they can do some serious financial and housing damage. They can't get you evicted, but they can make sure you never have another animal in your house.
Yeah, that would be bad. And so you have a couple of little turtles in there too, I see.
Those are cooters, and then I got a mud turtle in there. These were caught down here in Houston, and that yellow one was actually caught in the Guadalupe River.
And so they don't have any problem cohabitating?
No, they actually love her. They crawl on her back when I have this light right here, and they'll all sunbathe together. And it gives her some social interaction, so she's not really by herself. So I like it. And she won't get any bigger than that. She's a dwarf. She's only 7 years old. She's very soft looking now. The spikes on her back haven't grown. If you were to look at a 9 or 10-year-old diamond caiman, which is also a dwarf caiman, they look very dinosaur-like, and they have some big old teeth, and they're very vicious. This is actually the most vicious of the crocodilians in the aspect of ferocity, because they're the smallest. So they have to be able to protect themselves, because they have the black caiman, which is in Brazil with her, and those are known as the man-eaters. They can get 18 to 20 feet depending on.
Wow. Yeah, that's dangerous. And so what else do you have here?
Well, here, this is Reggie. Reggie was a donation to the company. The guy had to move, and he couldn't have him anymore. And he's a blue-tongued skink from Australia. This is the biggest skink sweep in the world right here. So I know, good kisses. So if you can get that blue, so you can see the big old blue tongue in there. So he likes it kind of swampy, but I've been letting him dry out and warm up a little bit. They live in the swamps, and the thing about skinks, this is what snakes came from somewhere around 200 million years ago. If you look at the body of a skink, it's almost very snake-like.
Right, right.
Little bitty legs, big old head, big old body. The tail doesn't break off, and so like a traditional lizard. So the snakes came from these, and they don't like to climb like lizards do and anything else. They like to sit on the bottom and soak, and they slither, and so. But the big thing, the only other thing closer to a snake than a skink is the glass snake or the legless lizard, which is basically one of these.
Yeah, yeah.
And the only difference is A, the tail breaks off. B, they have eyelids. Snakes don't have eyelids, so they can blink, and they have ears, so you can see.
Right, I see the ears on them right there. Yeah, the holes.
So
on
it's
the
still
side.
a lizard, even though it has no legs. But this is what snakes came from. So
So how much do you think that weighs?
He's about 4 or 5 pounds. I mean,
And will he get any larger than
no,
that?
he's an old dog right now. He's as lazy as they come. So he's tapped out, but he loves the kids. He loves to ride on your neck. He doesn't like to ride on your shirt because he has to hold that big body up on those little legs. So he likes to ride like this. So we just hold on to his tail, and he just is like, okay, this is good. So we walk around like this at the schools, and the kids come up and touch him, and he'll lick their fingers, and then they, oh my god, I got bit by a venomous. Good try. So.
That's pretty funny. So you do a lot of interaction with school kids?
Yeah, I'm an educator. I'm not a breeder. I'm not a showman. Well, a showman. I definitely could be a showman, but a lot of my friends went into the breeding area, and I didn't want to be a breeder. I wanted to be an educator.
Right, right.
The permits are different. It costs you money to get permits. It's money. If snakes don't sell, you could have. I mean, I had a friend who had a clutch. I think he had close to 1,000 snakes, and one of them got sick, and he was down to like 160.
Wow.
This one respiratory just killed his whole clutch. And then when they get sick, they don't breed. They don't breed. You come out with slugs. Basically, the eggs don't hatch, or if they're a live birth like a red-tailed boa, they come out, they're all dead.
Wow.
And there's no. So I'm an educator. I want to. I take donations and everything else, but I don't want to. Hey, I'm going to come this much money, or I have this much. I don't want to be that guy. I want to be the guy that comes to your birthday party and gives your kid a memory.
Yeah. That's a good. That's a good policy.
The guy that comes in and is like, here, pick one.
Yeah, exactly.
So that's my gig. This is a Nile monitor. Or a Nate monitor. Sorry, or Nate monitor. I had a Nile, but sold that one. These monitors are pretty vicious. They can be. She's not exactly the nicest one in the world. She doesn't really bite, but she doesn't like to be held. She was a donation. Guy couldn't handle her, couldn't get her to calm down. She does breed though. She has laid eggs. Even though they're not fertile, she'll lay eggs. So I know she's capable of breeding. But if you actually look, they're very fast. They love water. They love the trees. They're very aggressive. And this is what's in Florida right now that is attacking cats.
Wow. So it looks like a very sleek animal.
Very fast. So come on, you want to say hi? She's enjoying her bath. I got to clean that water today. So lizards weren't necessarily my thing. I'm just now learning about lizards, but the kids like them. So, and if you can get a nice one, I've had friends that have them, they'll actually crawl on the dinner table and eat with them.
Oh, really?
Yeah. My friend was eating dinner the other day, and he sent a picture of his cell phone. His big old Tegu cried up on the table with him was eating out of his plate. So, he's just like, is this what I get? I was like, yeah, that's what you get. So, but yeah, so they can be very affectionate and very people-oriented. It just kind of depends on your time with them.
Right.
And it depends on the temperament. I mean, you'll see it in a minute. My anaconda is not mean. He just likes to bite. But I've seen people shower with their anacondas. But anacondas,
oh, really?
Anacondas and reticulated pythons are the most aggressive, non-venomous big snake you can get.
Oh, I didn't know that.
My Robert chicks are puppy dogs. My anaconda, not so much. People say the opposite. So, and then here we go. Speaking of pythons, we'll just start here. These are my kid-friendly ball pythons. I don't know, babies. So,
look how small that one is.
These are hatched this year. These are from a friend of mine.
Look how cute they are.
They're a little nippy at first. So ball pythons, their defense is they curl into a ball. Hence the name ball pythons.
Right.
They don't do it really anymore, but if you watch them try to hide their head, see how they're still hiding their head because they're young. So they're a little nippy right out of the gate, but once they get used to being held, they're just like this, and they just want to absorb that warmth. So if I do this, they're just going to go to sleep, just because they're enjoying that warmth in my hands.
Yeah.
And this is Big Daddy right here, and he was a donation. So, Yes, I fed you. Remember, you're nice and fat and happy
And
now.
so what would you feed them, since you mentioned feeding them?
These have a large mouse, just one about every 6 to 7 days, but you can see this one's getting ready to shed. This one, so I try to feed them together so I keep them on the same feeding cycle. And this is 1 to 2 large rats, just depending on the time of year. And it's getting close to mating season, so these will keep eating for a little bit. He won't. They'll probably won't eat from about November to about March.
Oh, really?
They just don't eat. There's mating season. They want to go mate.
Yeah.
So, but these are very good for kids. These are probably the best starter pet snake you can get, just because of the temperament. And a lot of pet stores they'll have their employees hold them for a little bit to get them used to people.
Right.
So, all right. We'll just work our way down. And then this is my girl right here. I was real lucky to get her for the price that I did, just because this is one of the first kind of snakes I ever caught. This is a Mexican black king snake. Now everybody's like, is that a blue indigo? I was like, no, those are a little more expensive and a little more rare. And that's the Texas blue indigo is one of those snakes that if Texas Parks and Wildlife caught you with one, you'd be fined about 10 grand.
Really?
Yeah. So I was like, no, I'm just gonna get me a Mexican black king snake, and one day I'll get the permits for a blue indigo. But there are king snakes. They do eat other snakes, which is why I like them. King snakes are probably my favorite. I just feed her rats, higher protein, better content, and honestly, I don't think she would know what to do if another snake was next to her anyway.
Right.
So she's horribly spoiled, but she's a good snake, and she's a female, so I'm hoping to get her a boyfriend here real soon.
It's a beautiful looking snake.
Oh, very glossy. So, actually, you know what, sweetie? That you are eating today. This is my feeding container right here. So.
Yeah, you take them out of their natural place to feed them?
Yes, you do not want to feed them in their cages. So I'll go ahead and let her start relaxing. She can, so, do that. So there's one. Alright.
And so you mentioned earlier, but tell the audience again, if you were going to feed this whole group of reptiles that you have, what's the feeding time it would take you?
It takes me anywhere between 2 to 4 hours, depending on the snakes, because I let them acclimate. I'll put them in their containers, let them sit there, and they'll have the food, whether it's frozen, takes time to thaw, depending on the snake. Most of these snakes eat frozen. Live feeding I don't frown upon it. I still do it, but the rats, if they're not hungry, the rats will attack the snakes, and I've had three snakes killed by their own food. They just bit them, and if they didn't get an infection, they bit them in the head and killed them, and then the rats would eat them. Thinking they were hungry, they really weren't, or they got scared. So frozen is the easiest way to go about it. So you got to defrost them, feed them, clean the snakes, clean the snake cages. I always, when I do I try to check the spot cleaning, just the poop and feces and any kind of negative matter. Ammonia, that's why these cages are great for insulating heat, but the snakes pee and the ammonia stays in and they breathe that nasty air.
Yeah.
Very good time to temperament so that so basically it's a feeding cycle. I say I clean, check, fresh water, fresh cage, anywhere between 2 to 4 hours depending on how many snakes I gotta do.
Yeah, that's a long time, but it's a labor of love though, right?
Labor of love, and the snakes, they won't ever say thank you, but when you go to a kid's house and you have a beautiful snake for them to hold and gives you that memory, that's when you go home and it's like, you did good, I'm gonna give you a big old rat snake. So, and it's one of those things that makes you feel good about it, because you know, this is not a dog where you can just tell it to, hey, there she is. Yeah, Mike, I need my keys. Oh, is it in your car? Okay. Alright, hang on 1 second. So, and then, that's alright. Let me get the bull snakes. Yeah, I'm coming.
Can you get my umbrella?
Yes.
It's going to be wet there anyway, but...
Alright, so these guys are Texas bull snakes. These are the snakes that everybody kills saying it's a rattlesnake. The Texas rat snake and the Texas bull snake. This guy's about to shed, but they actually vibrate their tails like rattlesnakes. They're culebrids. All the culebrids do, even the king snakes. But these are the ones, because of their patterns, their coloration, that everybody thinks is a rattlesnake. They vibrate their tail. So I've been called over to people's houses. I got a rattlesnake in my garage. Can you come get it? Help me, please. So I go over, and it's a bull snake. First thing I do is I grab it, because they do hurt when they bite. They'll bite repeatedly.
Oh, yeah.
But I just pick it up, I'll grab it, and everybody's just like, it's like, oh my God, you got bit, you're going to die. I'm like, no, this is a bull snake. No, it's a rattlesnake. I saw the tail vibrate. So I'll grab it, grab it, pick it up, and go, where's the rattle?
Yeah, exactly.
So And that's how you do it. And yes, it doesn't. It's not the worst thing in the world. These are still babies. These are about 2 years old. They'll 2 this year, but they're not evil snakes. They're defending themselves. But they even flatten their head out. So you have the triangular shaped head of a rattlesnake. They even flatten their head out and open their mouth and hiss a little bit. But they don't have any venom, so I'm just like, okay, I got bit by a non-venomous snake. What am I going to do? Bleed a little bit?
Yeah.
So, line you over there in the corner. So. So, and then moving over, we have Marcus, the rat snake, which is not a Texas.
That's a pretty snake.
Yeah, he was I got him for my son. He's just spoiled snake. He is a rat snake, but if you actually look, he's very healthy, very well fed. He eats only frozen. He doesn't even know how to really constrict anymore. Right. So, but the thing about the rat snakes is, like I said, this is not a Texas rat snake. You can tell this has got the stripe pattern going down. Texas rat snakes look very similar to bull snakes. They're all from the same genus, but they're not mean, but they do act mean, and they can lay a pretty good chunk into you. But I'm very amazed that people look for when they see a snake, they see something like this, and I was like, this is a pretty snake, but we've had people run and scream just because it's a snake. Right. So
that's a really pretty snake, though.
Reggie's a very good snake. Yeah. What feel? So,
oh wow, that feels good.
Yeah. So
yeah, that's a nice feel.
If it was actually to show you,
very smooth.
They're very smooth. Their scales are different than the python scales. They're actually larger. So actually, I'll just because they're about the same length. They're not the same. So if you actually look, see the scales of the
very small.
They're a lot smaller. These are a lot because these are tropical environment. The rat snakes, the domestic snakes, basically the snakes found in the United States, the scale structure is a lot different. It's got to hold more moisture. They keep the snakes, cooler for the tropical environments and the humidity. These snakes are a lot thicker, a lot drier scales because they're used to more harsher, colder winters, and they can survive the winters. These snakes, the ball pythons and any kind of tropical snake, can't survive much below 70 degrees, and even then that's still not good for them. They don't want to be there. You don't want to keep them there that long. They like it 85 degrees. I'm not saying these snakes you don't want to keep them cold, but they can handle a lot more survival rates.
So how do you keep these warm in the winter months?
This cool little thing right here. This is my heat tape. It actually warms up the cage. Comes over here, and you plug it in. And I can actually do that now. I had it off earlier, and it just keeps them warm. And it'll heat up the cages in there, warm. And if not, what they'll do is they'll find the heat and they'll go over and snuggle up against it.
Oh, that's cool. So how did you get these cages?
These are Jason Miller. He's I want to say he's a friend. I'm a nice guy, I've met him, but he's got a lot of friends. But these are actually his cages, and I bought them from him. And they can actually make bigger. Say I have multiple ball pythons and I don't want to just pull this out.
Oh, that's really cool. Yeah.
So
yeah, that's a neat aspect.
Oh yeah. So he makes really good, and these are locked. When we had venomous, when we had a bunch of rattlesnakes at our other facility, we had these locked in there. So just for a while, the guy I was working with, he actually called me. He was milking rattlesnakes for MD Anderson.
Oh right, yeah.
So he said he tried that a couple of times, and he was like, well, nah, I'm okay. So I was like, okay, sounds good. Yeah, good. I'll take the cages, though. So that's not my thing. So those are the bull snakes, the rat snakes. And working our way down. Like this. Because I don't want her to... She's not mean, but she's still wild. Oh, sweet thing. Come here. So... This
is she's shedding.
Yeah, this is a speckled king snake. And I just fed her yesterday. She only eats about once a month. She's a wild caught. Some guy was about to step on her, and I went over and saved her. So she's not. These are the snakes that eat rattlesnakes.
That's a pretty snake too.
Oh yeah, that's why I've always wanted one. And I just saved her, and she's been pretty good since. She doesn't really strike. I use the glove only to get her out of her cage, just so she tastes. The gloves taste horrible. When they puncture the glove, it's a different texture in their mouth, so they don't know. Yeah. But if they puncture skin, they'll keep striking.
Right.
But she's hard.
That's a really pretty snake.
Yeah, she's getting a lot better. If you actually look, see she's breathing. She's breathing, but she's not breathing like rapidly. She's just kind of takes some deep breaths.
Right.
So that means she's relaxing, and yes, and she's getting used to being hand trained. So,
yeah.
So I like her. But she it doesn't hurt when she lays into you, but she'll keep striking, and she gets nervous. So right, baby. So you go back in there and sleep, and digest, finish shedding. Oh, cool thing about king snakes too, if I actually smell my hand, she did it. They release a musky smell.
Oh, really?
Yeah, real potent. So they do that when they're sitting, they come up and it smells really bad, so the predators all run away, kind of like a skunk.
Yeah.
So they have their own little glands in there. And this is George. George was actually given to me. I gave him to a kid, and the kid gave him back to me because the kid had to take off up to Ohio and didn't have the time to care for him anymore. And he's a corn snake. So,
that's a really nice looking snake also.
Yeah, so the funny thing is they usually do together when I do my shows, and they're near identical in concept, and one of the major differences is locality. You can even look at the heads of a corn snake and a rat snake, and even the heads are similar.
Yeah, they are.
So they're good friends. But George is also a complete, he basically only does frozen. He still wraps up a little bit, but he's not, they're not aggressive. These snakes are so used to being hand trained, I could probably put them in a bed with an infant. They just wrap underneath the infant and go to sleep.
Yeah.
So they've been so treated so well. So come on, there you go. And these are probably the most popular pets. And the one thing is about corn snakes and ball pythons have the most diversity of about any other snake. There's probably 200 kinds of corn snakes when it comes to color patterns or mottlys,
Really?
ghosts, snows. Ball pythons have the same thing. So they're all just the same kind of different kind of color patterns. But this is a basic corn snake. Like I said, I'm not a breeder and I wasn't wanting to be known as a breeder. So I just got me a normal corn snake that was just really pretty. So, what a big guy.
How big will that snake get?
Corn snakes, they're pretty much tapped out. They get 3 to 5 feet.
Okay.
But they weren't power fed when they were younger, so they're kind of tapped out. Once they hit maturity, they don't really grow much more.
Right.
So, then we'll turn around right here. You can't see her. Where'd she go? This is my baby albino Burmese python. Burmese pythons. Where is she? Oh, there she is. So she just ate. So I want her to relax.
Yeah.
She's an albino Burmese python. We'll show you a regular Burmese python. They're the biggest, most gentle snakes we got. They're real popular in Hollywood because they're not very aggressive. You do get bit and they can be mean, but as a whole, of the big pythons, they're the most laid-back, lazy snakes you'll get.
And so why do you have these locked up?
These are basically...
That's just the way the cages work?
This way the cage, they can push the things open, and that's rather than have... I can duct tape them here if I wanted to, and they couldn't do much, but they came with the locks came with them.
Yeah,
so.
yeah.
And I used to use these for whenever I'd have special snakes, like a special event. Like I should show you these snakes. They were all ones and different ones whenever I do a kindergarten class. These are my other ball pythons.
Now that's a beautiful looking snake.
Yeah, that is
Now that's one snake?
Nope, that's 2 snakes.
Yeah, okay, I thought so.
These are my breeding pairs. So this is a piebald. Literally, it's what they call them, pies.
So that's amazing how one looks like it's kind of blended.
Yep, that's the pattern. That's why these have actually come out not too long ago, but he's about to shed, so he's not quite as bright as he could be. But the piebalds, it's a pattern, and then patternless, just all over the snake. Depending on the snake. Sometimes it can be this. This will be the only pattern on the snake, but it's still construed as a piebald, even though it's supposed to be an ivory. This is not an ivory. This is a blue-eyed leucistic. The ivories have black eyes. This actually has blue eyes. You can see them.
That's a beautiful snake, man.
This is my girl right here. She's beautiful.
What's her name?
Ivory. No, Lucy. Sorry, my daughter named her Lucy because she's a blue-eyed leucistic, so we call her Lucy. And this is, let's see what my son named him. I think this is Minor, because my son's a big Castle Minor fan. Oh, come and give the kisses. So, and they're going to make me some babies, once they're big enough. But these are like some of the morphs of a ball python can be. You know, these are pretty recent. And this has been around for a while, but I mean, it's just one of those snakes that, as like I said, I'm a collector, not a breeder, so the kids love them and they want to take pictures with them. And I've had models want to borrow these for photo shoots.
Yeah, I can see why. That's a beautiful looking snake.
So, very, very attractive animals. And then they got their brother in there. Well, brother, they all live together. I'm their stud.
Oh, that's the one that kind of likes to coil up in the top?
Yeah, he's... Come here. He's up. There you go. This is a bumblebee. So So I went for the pretty snakes.
Yeah, it's a nice looking snake as well. I like all the different patterns.
This will ball. There's about 200 to 300 kinds of ball pythons out there.
Well, that's a smooth snake.
Oh yeah, they're
Very smooth.
They're very well. I got it. Like I said, I'm cleaning cages today, but they get very spoiled, and I have that light source in there for them, so it stays about 75 to 80 degrees in there. You know.
Oh, did you want to put that cage, that this
yeah.
thing?
Yeah. Let me get back to their sleeping time. They like to hide. Well, see, ball pythons, they're not. They're very nocturnal snakes. They sit in termite mounds in Asia most of the day, where it's cooler, and then they'll go out and hunt for their food at night. So, or any kind of dark, but the termite mounds, because they like the moisture. And then you go a little lower at the. This is Miss Riley.
Yeah, now that looks mean.
Yeah, she is a venomoid cobra. So she's a monocle cobra. She's about to shed, so she's a little more aggressive now than normal. But she's called a venomoid, which means she has the fangs, because cobras actually have fixed jaws. The pit vipers of America, like the rattlesnake and all that, they have the hinge jaws. Their teeth fold down, and when they strike, and fold back up when they close their mouth. Cobras have fixed jaws. Their fangs are built into their jaw. They never really move, but their fangs are smaller, sharper, can do more damage up close, and they can also. But they prefer the pit vipers prefer to inject the venom. Cobras like to bite and scratch and release the venom as they go down your arm.
Like gnawing?
They'll chew their way in, but if they can bite and then go up and down your arm and eject venom while they scratch you.
Oh, okay.
So it doesn't really matter to them as long as they get the venom, because their venom is very, very powerful venom.
Yeah.
King cobras, I think, on the 4th of most venomous snake in the world, depending on whose list you check, but it's definitely in the top 10.
So how'd you come by this snake?
I asked a friend of mine if he knew anybody that was getting rid of a venomoid that I could use for demos, because I'll hold her and I'll put her on my arm and I'll tap her on the back and she'll hood up and make her hissing noises, and
yeah, it's pretty neat looking.
People love it. But I didn't want to. I don't like having pure venomous unless it's just for the Boy Scouts of America. I'm not a venomous snake kind of guy. I'll never kill one unless I absolutely had to, but they're not something I want to do. Because I'm a snake holder, not a snake looker.
Right, right.
This is the ones that I use. Okay. These are my other ones.
Wow, now look how pretty that looks.
This is Bonnie. She is a California king snake. And so she's getting ready for hibernation. But California king snakes, they're real popular. They can be kind of mean and bite. Like, she's actually bit me and lashed on, and I had to get the rubbing alcohol on my fingers to get her to let go. It wasn't to be mean. They're always hungry. I actually got these from a friend of mine, and I was the only one he wanted to sell to, because he couldn't get rid of them because they were just so bad about biting.
Right.
And he goes, "These aren't pets." I was like, "Okay, I'll take care of it." So I made them pets. Now I can hold them. I just kept feeding them, and then after I'd feed them, I wait about an hour and make sure they weren't striking, and hold them and walk around with them, and then put them back up. But they still have that natural reflex. When they're hungry, they'll lunge at you.
Right.
But they're not, like I said, they're snakes. I mean, people think, I've heard people say, "My snake loves me and never hurt me." Well, thing is, the snakes are very tolerant. They can get used to being held. They can get used to being put on your neck. They can even get used to feeding cycles. But they don't know affection. They're not that kind of animal.
Right.
But they can know a gentleness. You're not a predator. You're not going to hurt them.
Right.
So that's how you get them tolerant. But if you ever trust a snake, that's when you get bit, or that's when it gets attacking. But
so how often would you feed a snake like that?
I feed her about once every 7 to 10 days. About a couple of small rats that are frozen. She doesn't constrict anymore. She just swallows whole.
Do you have a written down schedule for this?
I have it on my phone.
Yeah, so, that's pretty nice. It seems like you'd have to have it for all these animals.
You'd have to know when So, and I'll show you. So this is Bonnie. I'll show you Clyde. That's the reason they got their names. The best gangsters in the world. So, this is Clyde. Yeah, there he is. So, see if I can get him to play a little bit. I'm a big guy. Show him what you got. There he is. Yeah. So, and Clyde's, like I said, he's horribly spoiled.
He bit real hard.
Yeah, he's a clamper. So, see, he bit and latched on. It's definitely feeding day, but he's a lunger. He knows when he wants to be fed. He's actually, so I got some frozen stuff going to defrost for him and feed him later.
So, boy, he is clamped on.
and he'll let go in a minute. Or I'll put him in here with the club, and he's like, "This don't taste right." So, but that's how they are, and that's what you're gonna get when you have a snake. There's 100% probability you're gonna get bit, but it's a snake. If you think you're not going to, then you're in the wrong thing. The only snake that I've even then, but the Western hognose has a toxic saliva, but it doesn't have any front teeth. It's got a couple of barbs in the back of its mouth that it uses to paralyze a frog as it pulls down, because it's not a constrictor. But even then, people got bit by those, and their hands swell up a little bit like a really bad mosquito bite.
Right.
So.
And yeah. So if it doesn't let go, you just put the glove in there until they.
I'll put the glove in there, and if he bit my hand, I just go get some hand sanitizer and spray his mouth and his nose a little bit, and he'll let go. I'm better than my friend. A friend of mine used to have whiskey in his house. He just spit it on the snake, and I was like, I can't do that. I can do Listerine or hand sanitizer, but I can't do whiskey.
Right,
So I think
right.
it's a little cruel. So these are my milk snakes. So these are the ones the kids love, because first thing out of their mouth is they see that red and white, or I have one that's a Pablin milk snake. I gave it to a school. Everybody's like, "It's a coral snake."
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. They look like the ones that are the deadly ones.
Yeah, they do. They're mimics. They mimic the coral snakes, but these are about 3 times bigger than your average coral snake, weight-wise. So this is an albino Honduran milk snake, and this is just a regular milk snake.
Those are really pretty.
No, people love them.
You got a nice collection of snakes that are really nice looking.
Oh yeah, I wanted to go with the pretty ones, and like I said, it was real funny because we had a lady take both of these, and she did like the cross thing like this, and she had a red and yellow.
How did she do it now?
She was like this. She had an outfit on, and she had the snakes like this, a lot of red. And so then this one, she was real popular. We had a girl in a Santa outfit. So she was red and white. So we got her a red and white snake, and it was really cute. So.
Yeah, that's neat.
But these are the ones the kids love, and you teach them the poem: red and yellow, dangerous fellow; red and black, which these will be black right here. Friend of Zac, so you know.
Yeah, yeah.
So I was like, "This is friend of Zac. It's a good snake." So. No, ma'am. So. And here we go. And actually put your friend back in there. Oh, there's some poopy. So let's throw this out. So this is a desert king snake. He was a donation to the company. It's a prairie king snake, not a desert king snake. So he's very sweet. He's horribly spoiled. Actually, the funny thing is he's never made an aggressive gesture towards anyone. I think he's pretty much an older snake, which is why he's very lazy. But it's funny because I was trying to hand feed him a mouse just to show my son how to do it. And it was funny. He actually went for my finger, and my finger went halfway down his throat, and he spit it. He let go. He didn't try to swallow it or anything. But my son got kind of nervous after that. I had to teach him a little bit longer. But they actually eat other snakes, rats. They prefer rats, but that's why I like them. And this was actually the first snake I caught wild when I was 8 years old. Was this exact kind of snake?
Wow, you've had that snake that long?
No, this was just the kind.
Oh, the kind. Yeah, okay.
So that's why I wanted to make sure my son had one. It was a very, very special snake to me, just because this was actually the first one that I caught, had for a week, and let go. So, and he's horribly spoiled. I take very good care of my animals. So now, just for you, I called my buddy. He dropped these off not last night, 2 nights ago, but these are the snakes that we don't hold. As you can tell, there's a lock on this cage, a clamp on this cage, and down here, those are the special things. So this is a water moccasin. I actually pulled that out of somebody's flower bed in Houston when it was.
Now these are lethal, right?
These will do some serious damage. They have a cytotoxin, which means it dissolves the muscles, the blood cells, and everything in your body while it kills you. So
yeah. And so I've heard stories of a ball of water moccasins.
A nest.
Like floating, like whenever it floods or whatever, it's real dangerous to get into the water.
It is, but that's mostly during mating season. And if you have a heavy rain during their mating season, then a lot of times they can ball up, which is not unheard of, but it's very rare. There was a great video in the movie Lonesome Dove that they showed how that really works.
Yeah, I remember that.
And it's not unheard of, but it doesn't happen. But it's usually it's a mating ball. They're all trying to get together. And I mean, I had a guy in Louisiana. He water skied over one of them.
Wow!
He thought he hit a log, but it was a nest of snakes, and he fell. And boy, he took off. The boat came back for him, and they all took pictures. It was, whew, boy.
Talk about scary, I bet.
I mean, I was like, he thought he hit an alligator because it was in the middle of the lake, you know.
Yeah.
And he goes, it's a big black log, and it wasn't a log. You could see, and he thought it was an alligator. It was a nest of water moccasins.
Wow, dangerous. That's very scary.
Oh yeah.
And so which one is this now?
This,
oh, look, a rattlesnake.
Yeah, this is a canebrake. They are found in Texas, in the Louisiana area. They're probably the third most venomous snake in the United States.
This one, wow.
This one, yeah. There's a few kinds, I think. I'm not 100% sure. My friend does mostly the venomous. I'm mostly the non-venomous. But I think from what he told me, this was one of the, it's related to the timber rattlesnake, which is up north. And they have a very, very powerful venom because they sit up in the rocks of like El Paso.
Yeah.
Or the timber sits up in obviously in the mountains. And the little lizards and stuff that come out there, similar to the banded rattlesnake, they have to have a venom that'll just completely incapacitate them. So I think the
Boy, it's rattling like crazy.
Oh yeah, she knows. So the venom, I think, the venom of the banded rattlesnake can send you into cardiac arrest within a minute, and I'm pretty sure the snake has a similar attribute. But like I said, I'm not the venomous
Damn.
guy. I'm the petting zoo guy. If I was a educator, I'd have got my degree in herpetology. I'm not an educator, expert. So, but I'm learning. He's teaching me. He's giving me books to read and everything else. So.
Yeah, I'm scared of rattlesnakes, boy. I'm sure, like everybody should be.
So yeah, he dropped these off last night so we can get a good one.
Oh, that's good. That's nice of him.
Let me see if I got. Let me get my flashlight. So there she is.
Oh,
so
yeah.
this is the most common rattlesnake found in Texas. We actually got her out of West Texas.
And what kind of snake is this?
That's a western diamondback rattlesnake.
Okay.
So these are the ones everybody uses for the rattlesnake roundup that they cut the heads off and make all the ornaments out of.
Oh, right.
So we're not into that. We actually buy them and rescue them, and we have friends that do the same thing.
And that's very poisonous also.
Yes, that's a cytotoxin also. They're pit vipers. So she's very special to me, though. This is the whole reason we kept her. We let a lot of ours go, but we kept her. She, and I had 3 of them in the same cage, her and her sister and a male we caught, and they stopped eating, so I thought they were dying, so I let the male go and I let the other one go, and I kept her, and next thing I know, she gave me 14 babies.
Wow.
So we let all the babies go, but I thought she was a keeper after that. So
yeah, for sure.
So now you can come over here, and these are the pythons, and like I said, I got them kind of I have the lights, and I have their lights, but I took them down to keep them warm. Oh nope, there we go. This is Hades. He is a green anaconda. So
they get really big, don't
they
they?
get really big. These are the heaviest snakes in the world. Not the longest, the heaviest. Basically the powerlifters of the snake world. About 18 feet, 400 pounds, eat crocodiles and caimans and
wow.
Amazon.
And so how big is that snake?
He's about 6 feet. No, so he just about, we measured him at 8 feet last time we measured, but I haven't measured him in a while. And he's not mean. I can hold him. I just don't. He'll bite for no reason, so I keep him in there. But he's fat and happy right now. You can see he's been very well fed lately. So.
And what do you feed him? Just rats?
Big old rats.
Big rats?
He'll eat 3 rats at a time. He won't stop eating. That's the thing about him. Is he can eat me out of house and home if he wanted to. So and then he moved down.
Very big.
Yeah, he's big. And this is
look how beautiful that snake is.
This is, I believe it's a female. It's what they told me it was when I got it. I haven't had her probed yet, but actually she's a sweet snake. Let me get her out. Come on, baby. Come see Daddy. So she was actually, somebody called us from a pet store saying they found her in an abandoned home. Somebody just left her. So.
That's a huge snake.
So she's a boa. I want to see. She's got a cousin to the red tail. To see these are normally pretty red, so they'd be a red tail boa. But she doesn't look like it. She's actually got a pattern called a dermal boa. So I want to say she's a Costa Rican of some sort, but I've actually never seen a boa like her. So, and she was a donation to us, and big cage. And she's so sweet though. She's never made a mean gesture towards anyone.
Right.
And we actually had a lady.
That's a fat snake
oh,
too.
Yeah, I told you, I feed my animals good. They're pets, so these are pets, and so they have their vet bills and they have their Baytril if they ever get sick. And,
right.
So she's a very sweet snake.
And so you would bring these to the vet, or the vet comes here?
No, I bring them to the vet. So all right, there we go. This is Brock. He is a blood python.
Well, that's a fat one too.
Oh yeah, these are I don't say Australia. I don't know. I haven't done my homework on these guys yet. I didn't know much about them.
Look how fat that thing is.
Yeah. Still learning about the pythons. I know everything about domestic king snakes and everything, but pythons I'm still learning about. So, but Brock, these are ambush predators. They bite in the face, and then they'll pull the animal into the water a lot of times because they love the swampy environments. So that's why you see them just kind of soaking in there, enjoying a good bath. And but they're very strong snakes. They're very short. They only get about 5 feet, so they're very stubby. And they get the name blood not because they drink blood, because they look like a blood sausage.
Oh, right, right.
So, but they have some big old teeth in the back, and he's just loving life right now. He was actually sick, and I had to give him some injections for a respiratory. So, but the bloods they can be mean. I've never had a problem with him because I actually bought him when he was a baby and gave him to 2 little girls for their birthday.
Right.
And they ended up giving him back to me when they left for college. So that's how far back he goes.
Wow.
So, and then we have the red-tailed boas. These are both my babies. So this is Bo. Bo was actually an adoption. The people just didn't know how to take care of snakes. He's a traditional Colombian red-tailed boa, as you can see. But they just didn't know how to take care of snakes very well. It was not that they didn't want to, they just didn't know the patterns, and it was hard to feed him. So he was actually very skinny when I got him, but he ended up just tearing it up, and now he eats like a champ. But his nose is all flattened. He's trying to get out of his cage. Too small a cage, too small an environment, not being held. And you got some snakes that don't want to be in captivity. I mean, it's just how it is. They're snakes. So he's always been trying to get out, but he's the gentlest thing you can ever come across. So, and then I got his girlfriend.
That's a pretty snake too.
This is Sonia. So got her from Arnold movie Red Sonja. You know? So she's a sweet snake too. But they didn't actually tell me what she was. She's not a traditional. I thought she was a salmon boa, but they said she wasn't. They said they didn't know where she was. So I just was like, okay, well she's pretty. I'll take her. So
yeah, that's a nice looking snake too.
Yeah. So, and they're getting ready for mating season, so I'm trying to power feed them a little bit right here.
So how do schools get in touch with you for you to come by?
I have a website and a business card now. So I drop off my business card at the schools, and then the kids call me, and I have friends of teachers that will call me for their classrooms and stuff. So.
Well, that's a big snake too.
This is Barbie. She's an albino Burmese python, and she's my new pride and joy. So she's super sweet. I know you're still getting over that, aren't you?
Wow, man. I like the feel of snakes.
Yeah, they're super sweet, so soft. So right? So anyway, I got to clean all these cages today. I have the bags out front, and these are.
It's a lot of maintenance, isn't it?
It is, but like I said, you want your bath? I put her in lukewarm water. She loves to soak. So,
I bet that's good for the skin too.
It is too. So, you want your bath? Okay, I'll give you your bath. We're almost done. Okay. You get your bath in a minute, okay, sweet thing? Alright. And then show you the ones I've had the longest.
Well, you just bump that cage and that rattle goes off, huh?
Bump it. He'll just look at you and see it. This is the first snake that I ever had. This is the one, he's almost 11 years old. Well, he'll be 11.
That is a very large snake.
And if snakes could be affectionate, this would be this guy, right? So, his name's Venom. He's a python, but his name's Venom. I got him when he was a week old in 2005. His birthday is May 12th, 2005. And he's the first time I started studying snakes, learning humidity levels, tropical environments, how to, moisturize the cage. And
now that's one snake.
That's one snake. 16 feet of snake right
16 feet. Damn. What a huge snake that is. Now, how many rats would that thing go through?
He goes with rabbits.
Rabbits, wow. So you feed him frozen or dead rabbits?
He can still kill if he has to, but it just got to the point where it's easier.
I heard that it's bad because they flip around inside their cages whenever they're killing, and it can damage the snakes a little bit.
It can, so.
And then you're supposed to take them out of their environment to feed them so they don't get used to having food, because then they'll bite your hand when you start reaching in, because they recognize anything. They associate their cage with feeding if you start feeding them in their cage.
That's why he always eats in the bathtub.
Yeah, yeah.
So
that's got to be a big snake to handle, huh? You take it out? You need two people to handle it when you bring it out?
No, not him. He's so spoiled that it's not even...
Wow, now look how big that thing is. Damn, Zac.
But my daughter just sleeps on him. He's the most gentle snake that you could ask for. But most barns are if you get them when they're young and raise them. So he's the one that the kindergartners all love and everybody, right? So, and he sits in the bathtub too. He'll actually take a shower with you. He loves to sit on the bottom of the tub while the hot water rolls on top of him. So,
what a huge snake that is! Soft too, very soft. Wow. So how do you transport these to the schools whenever you're going to bring them?
I've had him so long he doesn't even have a cage anymore. He just rides in the back underneath the back seat. So, but I have a bunch of these.
Oh, a bunch of these containers, yeah.
With the rain, all I did was spray some.
And you can put multiple constrictors in the same thing because they don't really affect it. Yeah.
No, no, you don't. We're gonna get your bath later with your girlfriend. But Albino Burns his new girlfriend, so we're gonna get you out later. So, see, before we have 3 cats in the house, but other than that, the snakes used to sit in the house with us. So now things had to change a little bit. So, I'm gonna clean this one tonight too. I know. So, okay. So, but yeah, he just sits in the back, and he had a girlfriend named Rexy. That was actually the first. She was 18 feet when I got her.
Wow.
And she was just as sweet as he was. And they were the first. They made me a batch of babies, but what I didn't recognize is I didn't know they'd even mated. I just put them in the same cage for about 6 hours. To transport to the vet, and the vet gave them both Baytril, which is an antibiotic. Well, I didn't know this at the time because I just started with snakes, and Baytril basically infertilizes them. So she laid me a big old clutch of eggs with no babies because they never fertilized.
Right.
So but he's made a couple of successful clutches for me lately, so we're gonna make something happen. And then these are the ones that they're not mean, but never stick your hand on one of these. Are reticulated pythons. You never put your hand in a retic cage. Plenty of reasons for that. This is Phoenix. Come here, sweet girl. Come here. I know. Come here. I know. I know. She is a sunfire reticulated python.
Very pretty.
Based off Caw in the Jungle Book.
So you don't reach in because they recognize it as food?
They might. The retics have their own insight. You want to go to your old page before I clean it? So. But they are actually the most highly evolved snakes in the animal kingdom.
And why do you say that?
6 rows of teeth, longest snake in the world. The biggest one on record is 33.5 feet.
And so what kind of snake is that?
Reticulated python.
So the python gets this to be the longest, and the anaconda is the thickest, heaviest.
These are the bodybuilders of the snake world, and the anaconda is the powerlifter of the snake world. So, but if you look at her eyes, retics have night vision. They can see in the dark. They're just as capable of killing in a tree as they are on the ground. In the air, they like to strike the prey and wrap it up and hang from a tree.
Yeah.
So they're pretty much capable anywhere and everywhere as far as killing and evolving. And the 6 rows of teeth are my favorite. I've been bit by her. Like I said, I was just cleaning her cage and she just shot across the cage and got me. So, you can come out, sweetie. It's okay.
So that's been a great tour, Zac.
Yeah, if you look, you can see she's got her girlfriend in there. That's her friend. That's
right.
That's a lavender reticulated.
Look how pretty that one is.
Yeah, that's a lavender.
Yeah, look how beautiful that is.
So
they're all beautiful snakes, man. You have a lot of good taste.
I know, so I'll let you sleep. So you got a lavender, and then you got this is just an albino tiger. Yeah, that's Dante.
Yeah.
That's good. So there you go. That's my.
Well, that's an amazing tour, Zach.
Slayer Reptile Ranch.
Well, I want to tell you that I really appreciate your time giving us this tour today and showing us all the reptiles. And so, do you want to advertise your website or how people can contact you if they wanted to get a tour in the Houston area?
I just now started like I said, I didn't want to say I was an expert till I got expert on everything that I have. So I'm still perfecting my skills on pythons, the blood python and everything. But I do have I got my Facebook, and I'm creating a website. But my Facebook, if you go to Facebook, you go to my email, which is zooch19@hotmail.com, and it'll say Slayer Reptile Ranch.
Now, how do you spell that, Zooch 19?
ZOOCH 1919@hotmail.com.
That's your website. That's your email. Zooch19@hotmail.com. Now that's your email address.
That's my email address.
Okay, good.
Yeah, that's the best way to get a hold of me right now. I'll have the website up and running probably here in a couple of weeks, and I'll call you. I'll let you know.
Yeah, I can add it on to the back of the video for sure.
Yeah. And that's what really the best way. I mean, we don't have a company or anything like that. We're trying to get the basics, but like I said, I just started it. I've been doing this for a while, but I've actually only had the company for about 5 months. And,
right.
Just been trying to get everything up and running, but I didn't want to start it and like, oh yeah, here, let me go do this, because I was more of a rescue. And like I said, I'm a snake holder, not a snake breeder. You know, and everybody I knew was breeding snakes, and I wanted to go to schools and do the education side of it. And that just made a lot more sense to me, because as far as the responsibility goes of breeding, I definitely didn't have time for that with 2 jobs.
Right.
Kids. So, there you go, sweet thing. But yeah,
she goes back in good.
We do birthday parties, educations. Like I said, I got my friends coming back to take the rattlesnakes and everything back tonight, so I don't do the venomous shows, but I love to teach kids, let kids get an experience with a snake. It's more fun with the adults. The adults get a more kick.
Yeah, I bet.
They'll never touch the snake. They're like, here, put the snake on my son's kid's neck, and let me take a picture of it. But I don't want to touch it. It's your thing, man. Let's do this.
Yeah.
So,
well, thank you again, Zach, and I appreciate your time, and I'm sure that everyone's going to love this video a whole lot. So thank you very much for your time, and good luck with your future endeavors with the snakes.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, bye-bye.
Bye. Very snake-like.
Right.
Little bitty legs, big old head, big old body. The tail doesn't break off, and so like a traditional lizard. So the snakes came from these, and they don't like to climb like lizards do and anything else. They like to sit on the bottom and soak, and they slither, and so. But the big thing. The only other thing closer to a snake than a skink is the glass snake, or the legless lizard, which is basically one of these.
Yeah.
And the only difference is, A, the tail breaks off, B, they have eyelids. Snakes don't have eyelids, so they can blink, and they have ears, so you can see
Right, I see the ears on them right there. Yeah, the holes on the side.
So it's still a lizard, even though it has no legs, but this is what snakes came from. So
how much do you think that weighs?
He's about 4 or 5 pounds. I mean,
and will he get any larger than that?
No, he's an old dog right now. He's as lazy as they come. So he's tapped out, but he loves the kids. He loves to ride on your neck. He doesn't like to ride on your shirt because he has to hold that big body up on those little legs. So he likes to ride like this. So we just hold onto his tail, and he just is like, okay, this is good. So we walk around like this at the schools, and the kids come up and touch him, and he'll lick their fingers, and then they, oh my god, I got bit by a venomous. Good try.
That's pretty funny. So you do a lot of interaction with school kids?
Yeah, I'm an educator. I'm not a breeder. No, they actually love her. They crawl on her back when I have this light right here, and they'll all sunbathe together. And it gives her some social interaction, so she's not really by herself. So I like it. And she won't get any bigger than that. She's a dwarf. She's only 7 years old. She's very soft looking now. The spikes on her back haven't grown. If you were to look at a 9 or 10-year-old diamond caiman, which is also a dwarf caiman, they look very dinosaur-like, and they have some big old teeth, and they're very vicious. This is actually the most vicious of the crocodilians in the aspect of ferocity because they're the smallest. So they have to be able to protect themselves, because they have the black caiman, which is in Brazil with her, and those are known as the man-eaters. They can get 18 to 20 feet depending on.
Wow. Yeah, that's dangerous. And so what else do you have here?
Here, this is Reggie. Reggie was a donation to the company. The guy had to move, and he couldn't have him anymore. And he's a blue-tongued skink from Australia. This is the biggest skink sweep in the world right here. So I know, yeah. Good kisses. So if you can get that blue, so you can see the big old blue tongue in there. So he likes it kind of swampy, but I've been letting him dry out and warm up a little bit. They live in the swamps, and the thing about skinks, this is what snakes came from somewhere around 200 million years ago. If you look at the body of a skink, it's almost
Hello, Zach.
Hello, Paul.
So today I'm here with Zach, and we're going to take a walk around his little zoo that he has in his garage. So Zach, you want to start out with talking about this little tortoise here?
This is Tiny. He is an African sulcata tortoise. He was actually a donation to us. We got him for, the guy was going to sell him for a lot more than we got him for, but the guy knew we were educators. So he basically knocked the price off, and he was actually a breeder male, and it took us about 2 years to get him people friendly. He now lets you pet him and everything else, and comes out, he eats out of your hand. So he's still a little shy, but by no means mean. And he actually, if you go in the backyard, he runs you down because you can't feed. His favorite food is cactus. And my mom has a prickly pear out at her house that we just constantly cut pieces off of. But he'll eat grass and anything green you want to feed him, because the tortoise, they don't drink water. They don't drink water at all. They get all the water they need from their food, so he's constantly chewing on anything green. His favorite snack is apples and strawberries, but you don't want to overfeed them because their stomachs don't like the acidic content. So he gets a little reward here and there. So he always thinks, you know, we see you. I know you're there. I was like, I know, you know Daddy's voice. So now she's coming. She thinks we're going to feed her, but I already fed her. If you look at that belly, she's very happy with that chicken we threw in there.
So what size chicken do you throw in there?
We don't throw like chicken. We cut the pieces and just throw in there the legs and stuff. We don't let her. She can choke on it if she gets something too big. So we mostly cut it up for her. But she eats everything that used to be alive.
Right. So. And so you said earlier when we were talking about this that you have a permit, so that makes it legal for you to have a caiman. You have dwarf caiman.
If you're going to have exotic reptiles, you need a permit to have it, and you need to check with your city ordinances and make sure. Like I'm friends with the police department, so a lot of them call me to help them move rat snakes and other animals they get caught that are reptiles. So I was like, hey guys, I'm back. So I've checked with the city ordinances. It's okay to have reptiles here, exotic reptiles, and. So, but yes, if you're going to have a crocodilian, a permit is really good to have, because if Texas Parks and Wildlife comes knocking on your door and you don't have it, they can do some serious financial and housing damage. They can't get you evicted, but they can make sure you never have another animal in your house.
Yeah, that would be bad. And so you have a couple of little turtles in there too, I see.
Those are cooters, and then I got a mud turtle in there. These were caught down here in Houston, and that yellow one was actually caught in the Guadalupe River.
And so they don't have any problem cohabiting?
We have apples.
Yeah. So how old is this? This is a tortoise, right?
It's a tortoise. He's 13 years old. He'll probably go roughly 90 years.
So this thing is probably going to outlive you.
Oh, yeah. This is my grandkid's tortoise. I'm already going to will it to my grandkids. No big deal. But he'll probably double that size. He's still infant stage almost for tortoises. So
wow.
He's horribly spoiled. We don't have a dog.
And how much does that thing weigh now?
About 85 pounds.
And so you say double, so that's about 160, 170 pounds whenever he's grown?
He'll be very, basically a 13-year-old could probably ride on him.
Yeah, that's big. That's big.
He's going to be very healthy, but we feed him well. And there's a special diet you can do tortoises called the Missouri diet, which is just very concentrated pellets. We mostly feed him that, but he'll chew on grass, and like I said, we keep him with broccoli and lettuce and anything. So he's horribly spoiled. There's dogs that are less spoiled than him.
And so what was his name you said? Tiny? Yeah, that's funny, yeah.
My daughter named him, so she loves to ride on his back.
That's funny. And so what do you have over here now?
Well, here we have a dwarf caiman from Brazil. So this is Cordelia. And she lives with her little turtles that we caught. These are just
now, is that her hissing?
That's her hissing. She's trying to let you know she's